Hello and welcome to Sport for Business, where I'm delighted to be joined today by one of Ireland's greatest athletes of all time. Whether he believes that in his own mind, we will judge from the smile, but Dr. Michael McKillop, our Paralympian champion from the last almost 2 decades. You're very welcome to Sport for Business.
Thanks for having me. Thank you.
It's an absolute pleasure. So we're only a couple of weeks away from Tokyo 2020, taking place in 2021. Another year on the clock. Is that a year which has served you well, or are you feeling that, oh God, I really wish this was just done now?
No, I'm genuinely thankful in a way that I've had the extra year. In 2017 I got injured. 2018 I had surgery. So 2019 I got back jogging, running in 2019. So I needed that extra year, I believe, to get me prepared for Tokyo, and I'm in a lucky position in a way that it's happened the way it has. Obviously, the whole pandemic is not ideal, and I wouldn't wish that on anyone or anyone in the world. But in a selfish manner, for my sport, I'm in a better position, and I believe that it's given me an opportunity to be in contention for a medal, whereas last year I don't believe I would have been.
You went through that long spell of 13 years without losing a race at the highest international level. Your list of achievements is incredible and definitely stands up as being one of our greatest athletes. But that defeat in the World Championships was it was obviously a blow. You must have thought that you had come back from injury. How did you find in your own mind that you bounced back? Because you had spoken about some of the challenges that you had faced early on in your career.
Yeah, I believe I bounced back in the right manner. I didn't panic. I didn't throw a strop in a way. I accepted it. It was a risk for me going to the World Championships. I didn't need to go to the World Championships. I only started jogging back in January of 2019. And it was a race against time to be fit on that starting line. And like you said, I didn't make the podium. I got beaten. I was less than half a second about getting a bronze, which would have satisfied me. If I'm honest, it would have satisfied me. It would have given me that platform for Tokyo. But I guess maybe missing out on that medal has given me that little bit more of a drive and a need for what is to come in Tokyo. I'm throwing everything in. I'm going all in on black, and that for me, well, the way I look at it, because if I don't win a medal, it'll be the second championships, and I guess I'm 31 years of age, and people will start talking about the end, and I've talked about the end to my team, to my wife, and I'm not afraid to say it, because you only hang around whenever you're competing at the best level. And if I'm not winning medals, I don't think it's very fair for me to take up spots of athletes that are young, up and coming, and deserve to have the opportunities that I got to experience when I was a young athlete.
Well, you did qualify this spot for Team Ireland at the Paralympics, so there's no question of you being absolutely the right man to take it on. Since Rio, there's been so much change in your life. You've gotten married, you've been recategorized, you've had the injury, you've had the operation, so many different things going on. How does it feel going into this Games now with all else that's happened around the world? Can you remember back to where you were in your head getting ready for London and for Rio versus where you are now?
Before Rio and London, I kind of like, for me, it was, in a way, I'm in the best possible mind shape now than I have ever been. From probably 2010, 2011, 2012. I was in my prime. I was only 22 years of age. I was even in Rio, I was in good shape. I probably, since then, obviously in my operation and my surgery, it didn't give me that platform to really progress in terms of my ability. But I believe that going into Tokyo mentally, physically, I'm in a good spot and a good position. And I just look forward to having that opportunity to shine.
And if I can take you back to London, one of the highlight moments of what was a breakthrough games for Paralympics was when your mum and the medal ceremony. And I still think that everybody who watches that, I actually show that as a video in some talks that I give, and it just breaks the room completely. It was such an emotional moment. This is going to be so totally different now. If everything goes to plan, if everything comes right and you end up on a podium, you'll be presenting the medal to yourself, presumably. What are the changes? Because you've been in camp down in Portugal now. What are you expecting? Have you heard anything back from the Olympic athletes that have been out there at the moment about just how different this game is going to be in a headspace as opposed to on the track?
Yeah, I think Paralympics Ireland and have really kept us in the loop, probably with too much information, but I guess too much information is good information. And it's just being able to make light work of kind of what you have been given. You got to take it all on board. This is a world pandemic. It's serious stuff. And I guess it's business that we got to do, and we got to be respectful of everything. But I feel like, for me, going to Tokyo and hearing some of the stories of, obviously, like Sam Kendricks, the pole vaulter, testing positive, and an Argentinian pole vaulter who was a close contact of his Olympic dream's gone because someone else. So you kind of look at it and you kind of go, it's a bit unfair, but that's the expectation that we've been told. If you're a close contact, you'll be isolating and you'll potentially miss your chance of competing. So I think the realization of that is going to make the experience of being in the village completely different. Like, I know from texting some of my, like you said, some of my friends in the Olympic team, that they said it's quite boring. Usually going into a village is a very exciting place. You get to meet loads of people, you get to catch up with some of your friends from all across the world that you're competing against, whereas, like she said, that there's none of that at all. Like, usually you would go to the games room and chill out and relax. There's none of that. But you can, but there's restrictions on it. And for me, Tokyo will be unique in its own way. And like you said, if I make the podium, I'll have to present it to myself. And moments like my mum in 2012 presenting me the medal won't happen. But I guess for me, it's slightly different, because in 2012, I was a young 22-year-old that had no pressures in life. Whereas now I have a wife, I have 2 dogs, I have a house, I have a family. And I really have to look at it as I'm going there to do business. I'm going there to perform. I'm going there to live up to people's expectations. And I believe that I think all the annoying, frustrating things I can't be in control of. The only thing I can be in control of is my performance and how I prepare and how I step onto that track. So for me, it's going to be different. It's going to be unique. And I think everyone loves unique things. And to say that they've been to a Paralympic Games where there was no fans, people will talk about for a very long time. And I think if you want to be a part of something that's going to be talked about for a very long time, there's no better place than being on the start line.
You sound as though you could be writing the book for how to handle these things. Hopefully that will prove to be the case. You've been involved. We're talking today about the launch of the Allianz, the Courage Chronicles that you featured in. What was that experience like? Did you enjoy the experience of being filmed and having your story told in a way that was beyond yours and yet within your experience, within your control to some extent?
Yeah, like, I think Allianz as a sponsor, they're very unique in terms of how they tell their stories. They're obviously one of the biggest companies in the world, and they have the platform to produce these videos and tell a story and give the platform of athletes. And I think what Allianz have given to me, not only obviously financial support and backing with their brand and trusting me with promoting it in the best possible light, but they've given me a platform to tell the world and tell the general public of the island of Ireland that I'm ready to compete in Tokyo, and what I've been through over the last number of years is given me that chance to excel. And I guess having the support of people around you to perform at the highest level is the most important thing. And the likes of Jason and Ellen, my fellow ambassadors with Allianz. I think we'll be going to Tokyo as proud ambassadors for Allianz, because we've dedicated ourselves to the cause of winning medals, and to have the support of the team around. I guess any business only works with a great team, and you always have to support and depend on one another. And I believe that having the culture and atmosphere within a business, the same way within sport, you got to have a good culture, and that gives you a platform to perform. And I think Allianz have really done that with the 3 athletes they support.
You really are some team. It's been a pleasure talking to you. You've given us some of the sporting highs of the last decade and a bit, and the very best of luck in doing so again in Tokyo as the clock ticks down. For the moment, though, thanks so much for taking the time to be with us this morning, Michael McKillop.
Thank you so much for having me.